everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video we are going to discuss about conditional and biconditional. For conditional statements, it says if P, the preposition P implies Q, or if P, then Q. So in this statement you can see P implies Q. Okay, this just gives you one direction. P implies Q, where P is known as the premise, the hypothesis, or the antecedents. And Q is your consequence or conclusion. So here, the statement can only be false if the antecedent or the premise is true. Otherwise, everything is true. Okay? So here we can see a simple table here that illustrates this conditional statement. So let's just make a truth table of this. So here we have P and Q. Then P implies Q. So basically from truth table we have here false, false, true, true, and here false, true, false, true. So for conditional statements, we say that if the premise or what the antecedent is true, then the statement will be false only. Otherwise, if both are true or both are false, then it implies true. Okay? So here we have false and false become true. Here false and true becomes true. True and false become false. And 2 and 2 becomes 2. So from this table you can see if the premise here or the hypothesis or the antecedent is true, then what the conditional will be false. Otherwise it's true. So here you can see false and false become true, false and true becomes true, true and false become false, and 2 and 2 becomes true. Okay? 2 and 2 becomes true. So otherwise you can say a statement can only be false if Q operates with P, Q which is what the conclusion is false, and what the premise or the antecedent is true. So you can see here you can only focus on this one here to give your conclusion. So for conditional statements, let's take an example here. P, let's say 2 sides of a triangle are equal. And here we say Q, the angles, the angle of the triangle is isosceles. So here we have two statements. P, 2 sides of a triangle are equal. Then Q, the angle of the triangle is isosceles. The angles of the triangles is isosceles. So now if you say P implies Q, so this one tells us that the two sides of a triangle are only equal if the triangle is isosceles. So the two sides of a triangle, this implies, P implies Q means two sides of a triangle are equal then the triangle is isosceles. So this is just an example. If you say P implies Q means the two sides of a triangle are equal, then the triangle is isosceles. So if you say not P, negation, last class we treat about negation. If you say what? Negation P implies Q means what? The two sides of a triangle are not equal, then the angle is what? Is isosceles. The triangle is isosceles. If you use this negation in either sides, you said not P implies Q, it means the two sides of a triangle are not equal, because negation means not. Okay? So you say the two sides of the triangle are not equal. Take note of this. Are not equal. And the triangle is isosceles. Because for Q implies the triangles what is isosceles. So now if you use P negation of Q, that you can say here again, P implies negation Q, says what? The two sides of a triangle are equal. The two sides of a triangle are equal because P says the two sides of a triangle are equal. So negation of Q means the triangle is not isosceles. So here you can say two sides of triangle are equal and the triangle is not isosceles. So this is just an example on this conditional statement. We can proceed on this one, like we can further explain about this conditional statement before we go to biconditional. So now let's see for biconditional statements. Double implies, okay? So for biconditional statements, it has double implies. As you can see, it has double implies. The arrow goes back and front, okay? So now for this one, as we know, P is our premise or hypothesis or antecedent. And our Q is the conclusion or consequences. So for here, for biconditional, if and only if both statements are true or false, then it's true. Otherwise, it's false. Okay? So let's see an example of the truth table here. So here we have P, Q. P double implies Q. So for these statements, as usual, we have false, false, then true, true. Here false, true, false, true. So for biconditional statements, it says what? If and only if both statements are either true or false. So it means if one of the statements is true, the other is false, then the statement definitely becomes false. Okay? So let's see here. False, false become true. False, true become false. True, false become false. And true, true becomes true. So here is an example. Example, we said what? P. So here is an example. Two sides of a triangle are equal. Okay. Then Q, the triangle is isosceles. So for biconditional statement, this one you can say P double implies Q means the two sides of a triangle are equal if and only if the triangle is isosceles. Okay? So here you can say the two sides of the triangle are equal if and only if. Here we use IFF, which means if and only if. So the two sides of a triangle are equal if and only if the triangle is isosceles. Suppose you say P double implies not Q, negation Q. For this type of statement, you can say what? The two sides of a triangle are equal if and only if the triangle is not isosceles. Okay? Two sides of triangle are equal if and only if the triangle is not isosceles. Again, you can say negation P double implies Q, which says the triangle, the two sides of the triangle are not equal if and only if the triangle is isosceles. Two sides of the triangle are not equal if and only if the triangle is isosceles. So you can play with this one, this biconditional and conditional statements. Depends on what you want, okay? So again, you can say negation P and negation Q. Let's say again, negation P double implies negation. So this not P, negation double implies negation Q means the triangle, the two sides of the triangle are not equal if and only if the triangle is not isosceles. So here brings us to the end of the video for today. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe on the channel.